Hello and welcome to another lesson, Introduction to the Wisdom of Kabbalah. However, this is not an introduction to the wisdom of Kabbalah anymore, since we've done the first, second, and third semester. Also, welcome back, Anthony.
Thank you very much. It's good. Glad to be back.
Good to have you back.
Back in the land of the living.
That's right. Enough running around already. Okay, so what we're going to do, this lesson, if we get to finish it, great. If we don't, we'll get to do another lesson next week. This lesson is a special lesson because it's going to teach us how to make a workshop. Okay. Now, in February, we have the big Congress coming up. And there are a lot of new friends who joined the group all over the world. And they don't know how to participate in a circle. They don't know how to participate in our workshop method, more like. Okay. So what we have to do is at least get an idea of what this workshop method is like, so that when the Congress comes and we get to do a live workshop amongst us during the lesson when the Rav is asking a question. So once we get the idea of how to do that, we'll be able to participate with the flow of the Congress much more comfortably. All right. So a workshop has a certain procedure, it has a certain flow. And this is not a regular workshop that people do in corporeal life, because this has certain rules. And these certain rules need to be adhered to so that we can make an actual, a Kabbalistic workshop. All right, so this is very, very important. So there are a few things we're going to go over. It's not long, it's not difficult, but they are things we need to remember. And as we do them, in the lessons, or as we do them when we're discussing things amongst each other in the group, we're always using this workshop method. We're always using the circles method, so that we can actually make a spiritual, practical application of the things we have learned. So what we're going to learn is as important as all the topics we learned in the lessons, simply because this is now a practical application tool that we're always going to use in the group, because every decision that we make in B'nai Baruch, every Kabbalistic group that makes a decision needs to abide by this workshop structure, and we need to do it as best as we can, so we must learn it as best as we can. It would be good if you had pen and paper so you can write down certain principles that we're going to learn, and you should be able to go over them afterwards. Although this lesson will be on YouTube, as usual, in the video section here, you can come back to it whenever you like. Still, it's good to jot this down in your notebook, simply because whenever you're with the friends, whenever you enter a workshop, it's good to remember the rules. It's also good to remind others the rules as well. Now, if you have any questions, you can always ask them through Anthony here, and I think we also have an open Zoom, and if anybody is in there, they can also ask a question.
Also through the YouTube page. We're streaming live on YouTube as well.
Okay, great. They can ask questions on YouTube too?
Yep.
All right, so you can ask questions on the YouTube page live, plus on the Zoom meeting. So let's get started. Okay, so this is called the workshop. And the workshop is very, very important because it's the communication tool amongst Kabbalists. It's not a regular workshop where everybody starts talking about things in a certain a random way, or even in an orderly fashion. A workshop here needs to be completing everyone. So it's a system where everybody's contributing, and everybody's becoming the organs of the body. And through everybody's contribution, that whole body becomes one. So the workshop has to complete everybody, and the outcome of the workshop should complete all of the participants. And this should bring a connection between everybody. So the idea of the workshop isn't a mental or intellectual exercise. It's a way of integrating into feelings within the 10, so that from those feelings and so forth, I can actually come to need discernments inside myself. And that needs to be something sensational. It needs to be a feeling, not an intellectual thing, because what we want to do with the whole exercise here is to actually generate and give birth to new feelings about what we're talking about and what we're trying to attain amongst us. And the importance of that is only through new feelings can we actually develop our mind as well. So if I'm just contributing through what I know as information, which is in my mind, it's not really going to add anything to you. The only way to add something to you where you have, at least some minimum marginal value is when everybody is contributing in such a way that I have new feelings inside of me that are born. These new sensations need to arise in me so that I can then work with these sensations. And because we're human, we're all sensual creatures. Our intellect and mind can only grow after the things that we feel. So having a feeling and a sensation that's been born in the workshop is very, very important, and then I can bring understanding to it through the study, and that way we have emotion and mind always going together. So I've got the feeling and the mind, the feeling of the mind, so like two legs. Okay, so we're always walking on two legs. It's very important to understand this, because if you don't have new feelings and sensations, you won't develop. It doesn't matter if the sensation is good or bad. The important thing that new sensations, new feelings, desires, thoughts need to be constantly need to be given birth to. All right. So let's start. We're going to read a little bit, then I'm going to explain things step by step. It's going to be like an intellectual process of going through procedures, but you need to understand that the approach to it, as we come to all the points, I'll explain more and more, it really needs to be an integration of sensations, okay, not intellectual information. So let's read the workshop. Okay, so the workshop this is where one changes one's perception from me to we, and from we to one. Okay, so this is what the workshop should give me. Everyone's individual contribution, although it's individual, should bring an outcome where we're all inside of this common atmosphere, this common sensation or feeling. So everybody's individual contribution should make a completely new person out of everyone, and out of the whole group as well. So whatever the group started with, everyone's contribution should make everybody new, and that newness should be a common newness to everyone. So everybody becomes actually we, and everybody becomes one. Now, being one doesn't mean that I'm actually getting rid of my individuality. It doesn't mean that I'm deleting myself. Quite to the contrary. Becoming one with the group allows me to become a new me, a more developed me, because I'm absorbing from everybody else. So as soon as I start absorbing things from everybody else, and everybody else is absorbing from others as well, this whole unity between the group, this unison, this integration, an integral impact occurs on everyone. So everyone becomes renewed, and the whole workshop group becomes a renewed group. And because everybody is renewed in the same direction towards something common, that sensation becomes the sensation of oneness. So everybody flows in that one sensation together as the 10. Okay. So now we've got preparation for the workshop. Okay. Now, if we were to do a workshop on a certain topic, we would be preparing for it because we're, doing something specific. But our workshops are going to be in the lesson. Okay. So our preparation for the lesson is actually going to be also like a preparation for a workshop as well. So the preparation for a workshop or the preparation for a lesson in our situation, when we're doing it in the lessons, is actually the same thing. We need to understand, everybody that's participating needs to understand why we're here, what we want to do, what we want to attain, achieve together, and by going through this workshop together, how we're going to add another milestone to our development. So preparation for the lesson and preparation for the workshop actually is the same thing for the benefit of the exercise that we're going to be, preparing ourselves for the February Congress. And preparation for everything is very important in the wisdom of Kabbalah. In fact, the most important thing for us is always the preparation, because I need to prepare myself and I need to have a clear-cut intention as to what I want, why I'm doing it. So it needs to be very clear-cut. And everybody needs to have that as well, so that first of all, when we start this workshop, the first thing that becomes really one is our intention. And as you know, from the wisdom of Kabbalah, the group has one intention. I'll just draw it here so we're back on track. So any person who comes to the group, okay, comes with the dot in the heart. So what we want to do, okay, let's see, you can't see this. Okay, if you can't see it, we'll think of something else to do. Just bear with me. Maybe I'll have it here. And and there we go. Okay, what about now? Hello? Okay, well that's okay, not to worry. Okay, I'll just do it without drawing. So how do we need to prepare? Just like we prepare for a lesson, right? We have an objective, and the objective of a Kabbalah student is to approach and to near oneself in attributes towards the Creator. So what we want is all of us to become closer in attributes to the Creator. And as we learned in our previous lessons and semesters, that coming closer to the Creator means an inner change I have to do, and that inner change should be towards bestowal and love. Okay, so I should be getting closer to the attribute of bestowal and love with every lesson, with every activity, with everything that I actually do in life. I should be integrating this one intention into everything that I'm doing. Okay, the lessons, the workshops, the dissemination, every activity that I do with the friends, having a meal even, because we don't want to waste a millisecond without the right direction. So all of us, when we're starting a workshop, we need to understand that the objective of the exercise is unity among friends, love of friends, so that from the love of friends we can actually come to a higher degree, which is closer and then actually equal, at the end of the road, equal to the Creator. So this is very, very important to always understand and to keep in mind. That's our direction. We want to come to feel the Creator by first feeling others. And as we learned in our previous lessons, that we only feel ourselves in our corporeal life. So we need to make this inner change to start feeling others. And that should always be in our minds. So let's take a look at first the 6 internal rules to make the workshop an effective tool. So if we want to make this something spiritual, we've got to keep certain principles in mind. And just like everything in life, there's a way to do everything. Okay, and the way to do a Kabbalistic workshop is based on these principles. So it's very, very important to jot them down and to make notes as I'm going over it, okay? So that you don't mix it up with any corporeal workshops that you might have been in business or in, I don't know, somewhere else. So the first rule is seeing the love. Okay, so that's obviously one rule you're not going to find in any other corporeal workshop, right? I'm sure they didn't mention that to you in a business workshop.
Nobody told me anything about that. You know what? I feel like I was being cheated.
There you go. See, so the first thing, as you can see, the first principle of a Kabbalistic workshop is seeing the love. Okay, so how are we going to see that? How can you see something that's not obvious, or how are we supposed to see something like that? Well, let's see what we have to do. The effort to see in all of the participants, the friends that is the desire to discover the Creator, and my own contribution to enhance it in the circle, evoke among us the feeling of a common sensation. This is a special feeling of warmth, confidence, pleasantness, softness, and love, which illuminates just like a warm light. The relations among the participants become closer and more intimate, and a feeling that no problem is unsolvable in the circle is formed. Okay. All right, so there you go. That's the first point. We have to see the love. Let's read it again. My effort to see in the rest of the participants the desire to discover the Creator, and my own contribution to enhance it in the circle. So I have to really focus on my friends, on what they're saying. I have to really open my ears and try to listen to them, try to see their contribution towards the revelation of the Creator. Why? Because we learned in perception of reality that everything is perceived inside of a person, and everything that happens outside of a person is only the reflection of how the light is working on the individual. So when we're inside a workshop, all the participants are talking one by one. If I pay attention to them, from everything they say, I should have some kind of an additional feeling, additional understanding, something deepening, something should open up. All right? At least I should, even if it doesn't, I should want it to open up. All right? So sometimes people get stuck and blocked, and it's like, I can't really feel anything new. It doesn't matter at that time because it takes practice and time. The important thing is to at least want to integrate with the friends, want to be in that unity of the friends, and that desire to integrate into them will open up something new for sure. But without that desire, it's not going to happen, because everything that happens to us, every new phase or stage, or any new event in life actually comes to us through opening up a new desire, opening up a new phase for us, something new. I have to have a desire for it. So seeing the love means that I participate with all my sincerity, nothing reserved. I just want to sincerely participate. And let's read it again. My effort to see in the rest of the participants the desire to discover the Creator. So all of us have this desire to discover the Creator, and what we want to see is this desire in everyone. We want to be integrated in that specific desire. So everything must be directed towards that. And my own contribution to enhance it in the circle, evoke among us the feeling of warmth. The feeling of warmth. This is a special feeling of warmth. It's confidence, pleasantness, softness, and love, which illuminates just like a warm light. The relations among the participants become closer and more intimate, and a feeling that no problem is unsolvable in the circle is formed. All right, so this is very, very important. The way we participate and how we participate is going to bring us to this outcome of seeing the love, seeing the connection between the friends, seeing the unity, seeing what is behind every friend, which is the Creator. And this openness, this integrated approach of everyone to be unified actually brings this new sensation about. So it's very important to come to a workshop with no, upfront assumptions, with just nothing. You need to come like a clean slate, all right? Just pure, clean slate. And now that's your working zone. You can paint anything you want onto it, and if you connect correctly with the friends, you should have a completely new state of of an idea, of a sensation, feeling, thought, understanding of what that unity among the group is. And in that unity amongst the group, that's exactly where you feel the Creator. So the method is very, very important in actually discovering something spiritual. Okay, so that's the first rule of the 6 internal rules. Okay, so all of these rules are in my inner sensations. It's my inner approach, and then the things that actually are born in me internally. Number 2, losing myself and finding the one desire. All right, let's see what that means. Losing myself doesn't mean I have to lose my mind and heart. Rather, it means I must direct my full attention to feeling the common mind and heart of the circle. I'm like a cogwheel that joins a circle with sprockets. My efforts to move in sync with the rest of the wheels allow me to maintain myself on the one hand, yet feel my friends circling along with me and their role in the system on the other hand. This gradually creates in me a space where I can feel my friends' hearts. This state is called as one man with one heart. Okay, so as you can see, everything we do should bring us to a spiritual sensation. As one man in one heart. Let's read this again and go over it sentence by sentence. Losing myself doesn't mean I have to lose my mind and heart. Okay, so everybody, like I said just a minute ago, maintains their individuality. There's nothing, there's nothing you delete from yourself. Quite to the contrary, everybody is very unique in life. Everybody has very special attributes. Everybody in the world is special. All right, so let's first clear out on that. And everybody has this unique aspect, this unique angle they can bring in. And this is exactly what the group needs. It's like each individual now from themselves complete the whole circle and complete everybody else. Rather, it means I must direct my full attention to feeling the common mind and the heart of the circle. Once again, this is very important. I can't be distracted when I'm in a workshop. I have to really focus on listening to the friends. Whoever is talking, I must be focused on them. And I must be focused with this inner quietness. Now, usually, when in a workshop, people start to talk to themselves about what they're going to say. They have this inner conversation. Wrong. You should not do that. Every time something inside of you starts talking with yourself, you need to shut it down. How can you shut it down? You can only shut it down if you're focused on listening to the other person. Otherwise, you're going to keep talking to yourself and keep thinking about what you're going to say when your turn to talk comes. And that's the worst approach. And it's completely wrong. Never, ever in a spiritual workshop, in a group of Kabbalists, do you think and plan what you're going to say. Okay? This is a no, no, no. This is what they do in corporeal reality. Complete mistake. Because what you already have in you will not be anything new if you don't have an additional perspective from the person who's talking right now. So whenever somebody's talking, everyone needs to be focused on what that person's saying. It's like the Creator is talking to you. Okay, because there's none else besides Him, right? The perspective of the whole of reality is governed by one force. And everything has a cause and consequence. And that cause and consequence is always acting on the person, is also active in the workshop. So when we're doing a workshop, it's very important to completely be open, to bring all your inner barriers down, to quiet yourself down, and completely focus on the other person and what they're saying. By that, you're actually adding onto yourself something new from everybody else. If you don't do that and you start thinking about, oh, what am I going to say when it comes to my turn to talk, then that's it. You've completely missed the whole point of the exercise. You've completely blocked out any chance of developing yourself because you have stopped yourself from adding things from others onto yourself. So don't do that, please.
So you're saying I shouldn't be a wise guy and try to plan out what I'm going to say so I can sound smart in front of my friends?
Exactly. Actually, the wise guy in life as well, it's like that. The wise guy is one who shuts up and listens a lot.
Ah, okay. Different way to flip the wisdom, huh?
Exactly. Because by that, you're actually adding the wisdom of everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the more you're thinking about what you're going to say, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, you're already limited to what you are, and you're not adding anything else to what you can be.
So I'm somewhat negating the words of my friends because I'm thinking about myself.
Yeah, you're thinking about what you're going to say,
okay,
and how nicely you want to talk,
mm-hmm.
okay, and how impressive you want to look in front of others.
Because I want to sound smart, right?
Exactly.
Ah, I got it now. Okay. I got it now. Okay.
Or it could be you don't want to look like an idiot. You know, it's the same thing.
True.
At the minimum, you don't want to look foolish.
Mm-hmm,
all right, so that's one thing, but that's actually completely restricting yourself from development.
Okay.
And the worst thing about it is it stops your development, and it actually stops the whole groups as well, because what you needed to contribute now can never come out. Because the whole idea of cause and consequence is that something needs to happen to me from the outside so something new can be born.
So you're saying that I shouldn't think. I should actually just come directly from my heart based off the feeling and the words of my friends.
Exactly.
Try to think about what they're saying and try to incorporate it in myself.
Exactly. Not even think about it. I'll tell you why. Just absorb what they're saying.
Okay.
Because as you absorb what they're saying, the words you hear should ignite in you a new sensation. It shouldn't be like a new intellectual exercise, because what we want out of this exercise is to actually have a new feeling pop out. Okay. So when this new feeling pops out, then I have an additional sensation. Now that additional sensation that just came out develops with the first person who spoke, and the next person is adding to that sensation, and the next person's adding. Then I'm talking, I'm adding. So everybody's adding to that common sensation. Then all of a sudden, everybody after the workshop becomes a new individual. The whole 10 also becomes a new 10.
So me and my friends are actually building something together.
Exactly, and this is how you become one man, one heart. Okay, so it sounds contrary to everything we've been taught in school and in real life. However, though, it is so logical, because I can only contribute something new if something new inside of me is now developing, cooking, and coming out. Otherwise, I've got nothing new to add, because I'm still the same guy before the workshop. Mm-hmm. So if I want to be a new guy during the workshop, I've got to absorb everything from the outside, and then that should ignite in me, that should develop in me something new, which is like me plus one. Okay, and that plus one happens to everyone, and now this whole group has gone 1 plus, 1 up, 1 level up. Once we finish with the workshop, with every round of discussions, we should actually be going 1 step up and up and up. It's like a little, like pyramid, until all of us become united in this one common concept and its solution or sensation that we were specifically talking about.
Interesting. All right, something new to challenge myself.
Well, you better do it quick before the Congress.
I'm on it. I'm on top of it now.
All right. Okay, so this is very, very important, friends. All right, so just sometimes the topics, our topics sound a little silly sometimes to normal people, like seeing the love. Okay, it's like, wow, what are we, a bunch of, I don't know, people living on the clouds somewhere? No, but this is, if you don't go beyond the corporeal, if you don't dig into a sensation, it's never going to come out. So seeing the love means we want to integrate into a certain sensation, because love is a feeling. And same here, losing myself and finding the one desire is also a feeling. So this is where I actually begin to now come out of my skin. And once I come out of my skin, I've got place to advance to. Start coming out of my cage. So let's read a bit more. We're still on the same topic, okay? My efforts to move in sync with the rest of the wheels. Oops, sorry, one sentence up. Let's start from the beginning, okay? Losing myself and finding the one desire. Okay, so that's the second rule. Losing myself doesn't mean I have to lose my mind and heart. Rather, it means I must direct my full attention to feeling the common mind and heart of the circle. And the common mind and the heart of the circle can only happen when we're all adding to each other, all right, with this openness. I'm like a cogwheel that joins a circle with sprockets. My efforts to move in sync with the rest of the wheels allow me to maintain myself on the one hand, yet feel my friends circling along with me and their role in the system on the other hand. So all of us should be moving together in this harmony. Okay, so it's like these waves in the ocean going up and down, up and down, up and down, and there's a certain rhythm to it. And the whole group should have this rhythm as it's moving along in this discussion. This gradually creates in me a space where I can feel my friends' hearts. This state is called as one man with one heart. Okay. Once again, it's talking about a sensation. Now, a lot of people might think, in corporal reality especially, well, am I supposed to feel that kind of a sensation? Okay. Well, you feel it if you do it correctly. Right? The only way you can have a new feeling or a sensation is when you bring your barriers down. All right, when you bring the barriers down. If you're going to go ahead with it as an intellectual exercise, you're not bringing your barriers down. Therefore, you won't feel any love. This is exactly in our human life as well. We can only feel love if we're open to the other person. Right? In business, you can't because everybody's out to stab your back, right? Is that right, Anthony?
That's a definite.
Okay, I hope your boss isn't watching this show.
I hope not.
All right. So, in business, everybody's trying to kind of like take advantage of you, stab you in the back, get the best of you. So for them, it's an intellectual exercise. Why? Because there's no love between you. But think of it like you've got this loving relationship with somebody else. So all your barriers are down. You're not in this constant mind work. This is not a chess game for you. It's just simply being in the flow with the other person. And it's like being in unity. So together you become one flow. So it's not your flow, it's not their flow, but you together become one flow. And this is exactly how it needs to work in a workshop. So we're not really talking about something absurd. We're not talking about something impossible. We're actually talking about how this works in real life as well. So it's just a matter of applying it and applying it correctly. Now we've got a question, right?
We've got a couple questions. So question number 1 comes from Kalichi. He says, very important, is there a file or document we could share with others not in or on this meeting today? And I think the best thing for you to do on that one, I'll answer that question, is to share the link to this YouTube, so that way the friends can see, they can share it with other friends, and we can make sure that everybody is together on that one. Now, the second question I'm going to pass to Mutlu. This question is, it's from Sitsofe. It says, I believe I somehow understand the principle of listening attentively to everyone speaking to add something new to ourselves. But what about the first person to speak? I mean, what is going to be my source of renewal if I'm the first one to speak?
Okay, that's great. Now, when you're the first person to speak, it doesn't really matter. Okay, you're just triggering the whole thing. The important thing here is you want to open up to the friends from the heart. Okay, because now we're talking about a new topic, something new that the 10 is discussing in a workshop. And what I want from that is initially our intention. All of us want to unite around this common goal of bestowing, okay, bestowing to others in order to bring contentment to the Creator and become like Him. Okay, so this is the whole idea. So the thing I just need to do, if I'm the initial person, is just bring down all barriers, Bring down all my fears, bring down all my anxiety about, oh, what am I going to say? Just bring everything down, okay? Have the correct intention and just open up, okay? Open up from your feelings. Everyone actually should be opening up from their feelings. You raised a really important thing here. So when the first person starts to talk about this topic, they open up from their feelings. Now the second person, who's also listening to this friend, with you know, without any, how do you call that? What's that word? You know, when you, without any prejudgments, without any judgments.
Preconceived notions.
Yeah, without anything like that, okay? You just bring all your barriers down. You're just completely open to what this person is saying, okay? So the first person opens up from the heart with the right intention, the correct intention. Just open up. And the second person wants to absorb all of that without any thought about it. You don't evaluate what the friend says. You don't need to even think about it. You just want to open your heart to the feelings that he's describing, to the things he's talking about, so you can absorb them into you as a sensation. If you bring all your intellectual capabilities down, you'll actually begin to feel the workshop as a flow of feelings. Not intellectual ideas, but a flow of feelings. Once a feeling is resonated in the group, then the mind will start to work about this new state. Okay, so this is why it's very important. This is why we're sensual creatures, right? So not to worry. You just prepare for the workshop, and then you just open your heart towards what we're talking about. It doesn't have to be smart. It needs to be a feeling. Okay, it needs to be, you know, sensed. Good question though. Now the number 3. Also, Kalichi, before we move on, where's Kalichi there? Hello, Kalichi. How you doing? Okay, good to see you on the screen. This work, the lesson we're doing right now is something. It's something that how can I say it to you? It's not something that's out there. Okay, we don't have it as a lesson. It was never prepared as a lesson. So this is why it's important for every student to take notes on what we're talking about, for everything. It was never meant to be a lesson. This lesson, actually, what we're doing right now, was never designed as a lesson, but we felt it was necessary after the Africa Congress, seeing that there were a lot of new friends. We felt it necessary to prepare them for the Congress, you know, so they can participate in a workshop. So this is how this was born, okay? So it's very important for everyone to take notes and understand what we're talking about as a concept. Now the number 3. Everyone but me is perfect. Okay, so this is a new approach. So you know, it's also against our nature to see anybody else perfect and ourselves imperfect. However, though, this is just another approach. Now think of it. The whole idea of this workshop is to develop myself, develop the whole 10, and with this whole development, we jump one step higher. Okay, so from the beginning, if I start looking at myself as I'm perfect, I've got nothing to add to myself. There's nothing to fill your vessel with. So from the beginning, I have to start looking at myself, thinking about myself as, listen, I'm coming into this so I can actually develop more. So I can't start thinking of myself as perfect, but I have to look at myself as, listen, I'm imperfect. And it's not a bad thing. It's a bad thing if I don't do anything about it. But because we're doing something good about it, it's good because I want to get all this imperfectness out. So I want to get all my defects out. And then I can actually turn them into something positive. I can work on them. So this approach, once again, the sentence might be a bit of a put off, but just understand what the mentality behind it is, okay? Everyone but me is perfect. That's the third rule of an internal approach. Okay, so remember, these are the 6 internal rules. These are how I'm going to approach it internally inside myself. This is how my attitude towards the workshop is. So the third rule is everyone but me is perfect. During the workshop, I must regard myself as the last participant who needs to add one's own part to what is already perfect. Once I have heard all the views in the circle, I must exert to agree with them, even when they sound unreasonable or even stupid. Why? Because I have decided once and for all that these are my friends. If I can belittle myself compared to the friends, despite my reasons claim that I am much smarter than they are, and far more experienced and correct than them, if I do all that, then I contribute to the building of the center of the circle. This is why we never disparage or argue, but only try to complement one another in order to discover among us that warmth while forming a singular group opinion. Okay. The greater the difficulty in doing so, the greater a chance to discover the Creator. The sign of true work in a circle is the feeling that only my point of annulment is missing in the puzzle. Alright, so let's read this once again. Everyone but me is perfect. During the workshop, I must regard myself as the last participant who needs to add one's own part of what is already perfect. So everybody needs to add something, guys. Okay, everyone has something to add. Everyone must participate. Once I have heard all the views in the circle, I must exert to agree with them, even when they sound unreasonable or even stupid. So if somebody says something and I don't agree with it, I don't tell anything to that person. I don't all of a sudden stop Anthony and say, Anthony, what kind of a statement is that? Where you coming from? Yeah, all right, okay. So I don't say anything bad to Anthony, okay? Even if I think it's stupid, it's crazy. I'm like, where are you from, man? Where'd you fall out from?
Out of space.
Okay, so we don't have anything negative against a friend, okay? It's stupid. It sounds stupid to me because I'm stupid. And the whole of reality is inside a person. So whenever I'm having this impression about somebody else, it's a sure 100% sign that I'm the idiot. Okay? So it's best to keep your mouth shut under that circumstances because everybody else knows this principle. They don't want you to know you're an idiot either. So keep it quiet. Absorb the whole thing inside of you. Doesn't matter what the friend is saying because what's behind the friend is important. Okay? Now when the friend says something, and even if I think it's stupid, it's not a bad thing because I can only learn from two contradictory points in life, like black and white, sweet and bitter, like pain, pleasure. There's always two opposites in life. So when somebody is saying contrary to what I think is the right thing, I have now room to evaluate it to move one step higher. So nothing can actually be stupid in the circle. All right? So that's an important aspect you need to get your head around. Because I have decided once and for all that these are my friends, okay? Because we're all working towards a common goal. If all our intentions, desires are towards a common goal, I'm not going to look at the friend and say, oh, he's talking really silly or stupid. I actually want to absorb everything that the friends have. Because there's something in every friend, whatever they say, there's something that I can pick up on. If I can belittle myself compared to the friends, despite my reasons claim that I'm much smarter than they are, and far more experienced and correct than them, if I do all that, then I contribute to the building of the center of the circle. Not only that, I actually contribute to building myself. I'll tell you why. If you recall Rabash's articles, we talked about nullifying ourselves in the group. Now think about this. If in the workshop, I'm belittling myself, I'm nullifying myself, okay, so I'm putting all the resistance against the opinion of others down. That's what it means, really. Belittling myself doesn't mean anything bad. It means that I'm lowering all my resistance towards others. And once I reduce all that, what happens is this new fresh me has like a blank page, like I said a while ago. I'm like completely open to something new. And when I'm open to that something new, I can add something new. Because everything that a friend is adding and I'm absorbing while, reducing my barriers, decreasing my barriers, then I have the opportunity to add something from me, which includes everything that they talked about, plus one, which is something from me. It's okay? All right, just 1 second. Let me finish this and then we'll get into it. So this is also very, very important. Nullifying myself doesn't mean I make an idiot out of myself. It means I'm reducing all my barriers and resistance to what other people's opinions are. And I actually absorb all of their opinions. And from the sum, the total of their opinions, I actually become something new. And that's really important, because with all their opinions, plus what I have in me to add, something common and new is born to everyone. Okay. The greater the difficulty in doing so, the greater the chance to discover the Creator. So if I find it difficult, it's okay, because we really by nature don't want to nullify ourselves. We want our opinions to rule and govern and not others. So that's normal. But the more I work against that, the more I have a chance of really renewing myself and renewing the 10. The sign of true work in a circle is the feeling that only my point of annulment is missing in the puzzle. So if I nullify myself, I'll be able to fill the part of the puzzle that belongs to me. Imagine that, nullifying yourself or pacifying yourself. Normally people consider that as like kind of deleting yourself out. But no, look what it's saying. If I nullify myself, pacify myself completely towards everything that the others are saying, I actually find an opportunity now to be a renewed me, and take that renewed me, which is much higher than the previous me, and place it into the jigsaw puzzle. Because the previous me cannot match anything in that jigsaw puzzle. It can't. Okay? If the whole group is moving up, developing, I can't fit into the clothes that I was wearing when I was, 5 years old. All right, well, the way things are going, not even a few months ago.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, but however, this continuous renewal needs to happen so that we can all rise constantly. So that part of you and your specific place in that jigsaw puzzle is going to constantly change, and you got to really adapt to that, okay? So nullifying yourself, seeing yourself below, doesn't mean like, I'm like trash or whatever. It just means I have to discover a new me so I can complement and complete everything and add my perfection in there, all right? Otherwise, if I saw myself as perfect, I have nothing to develop more with. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to add to myself if I think I'm right all the time. So there's nothing to do with that person. They just get stuck in their ways, and that's just how they'll carry on. So only a person who's constantly opening up in these workshops, really nullifying themselves, can add more and more and more to their inner sensations and to their understanding. Because once we start to feel new things, we complement it with the study, and we come to an understanding and a reconciliation of all this bunch of feelings that we went through. It's like a dough, right? We've been like working on it, and at the end of the day, all these sensations kind of get baked up in the oven as we study and apply understanding to it through the Kabbalistic sources, which is actually how the light works on us, by the way.
All right. So
okay, you said you had a question?
We've got a few questions here.
How come I only see from Africa, Kalichi? Is there anybody else?
Oh yeah. So you can't see the whole page because I'm
Okay,
using
okay,
half of the
no
screen.
worries.
So yeah, we got a lot of
Okay.
friends there from Africa.
Okay, great.
All right. And speaking of Africa, we have a friend that wrote into us on YouTube. His name is Morris Mumo. Morris says, "Do you have physical groups in Africa? And if yes, which cities?"
Well, we certainly do actually. Okay. Which cities is a good question, because we had a congress recently, a virtual congress on Saturday, and we had like 18 countries, right? Am I correct? 17 or 18 countries. So friends from 17, 18 countries were all with us. And in certain places they had physical groups, like in Cameroon, the Ivory Coast, Ghana, South Africa. Is there anything else you can remember? There were also some French-speaking.
There was
groups as
Togo.
well.
There was Benin.
Togo
We've got
and
we've got
Benin.
friends all over Africa. So what I did is I wrote, I pasted in the YouTube where you were writing to us a link to our Facebook page. You can write to us through the Facebook page. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll see if we can find some friends in a group possibly near you, and we can go from there.
And if you're interested also, if you haven't watched the lessons also, watch our 2019 lessons. Okay, so we did a whole year of lessons to as an introduction to the wisdom of Kabbalah. So if you really get in there, understand, watch the lessons and be a part of us, then you can actually, have it, find it much more easier to stick your head inside a group. All right, but like Anthony said, write us on Facebook and we'll help you out. Anything else?
Also, Tia Tapia wrote, "That is funny that what you said about when I say something stupid and come to the realization, had I made a mistake." Wait, that is funny. What about when I say something stupid, okay, and then come to the realization that I made a mistake?
Well, that's even better. Okay, why? Because that's renewal. First of all, to realize that you said something stupid is already a revelation. Because if you hadn't said it, you'd never know that something stupid was in you. So it actually came out, and you realize it was a stupid thing to say. So what does that tell you? It tells you that, wow, this thing came out. It was a really silly thing to say. Now I know what not to do next time. Okay, so this thing that pops out inside of you, and you think about it as being stupid, is not a bad thing. It's actually you're actually becoming more and more conscious about what you're saying and what you're going through. Okay, so it's really good. It's good question. Can I move forward then?
Radio.
Okay, so rule number 4, we're still carrying on with the 6 internal rules to make the workshop an effective tool. And rule number 4. They are the brain, I am their hands and legs. Once again, this title might be a bit of a turn off, okay? As if I got no brain and I'm just doing what I'm told. But let's see what it tells us, what it's trying to tell us. To develop the proper attitude during the discussion, you can imagine that only you can help solve their problems. You can see it from the perspective of parents whose children want something from them, so they listen to their words with love and full attention. Another way to relate to the situation is to tell yourself that since you cannot appreciate the importance of their words, you will help them however you can. In a way, they are your brains and you are their hands and legs. Okay, so let's read that once again and then explain what's going on there. So rule number 4, they're the brain, I am their hands and legs. To develop the proper attitude during the discussion, you can imagine that only you can help solve their problems. You can see it from the perspective of parents whose children want something from them, so they listen to their words with love and full attention. So once again, this point underlines the fact that I have to listen to what the friends are saying. Because if I don't listen to what the friends are saying, I have no way of trying to fulfill their desires. I have no way to understand where they need help. So this is why it's giving the parent-children example here. Another way to relate to the situation is to tell yourself that since you cannot appreciate the importance of their words, you will help them however you can. In a way, they are your brain and You are their hands and legs. So this is really important to understand. When we're talking about them being your brain, is actually simply this. They're communicating to me their desire. And what I want to do is fulfill their desire. So when that desire is coming from them, it's as if they're telling me what to fulfill, what to do, right? It's like our kids telling us, I want this, I want to eat this, I want to go here, I want to go there. It's like they're telling me what to do, and I'm going ahead and doing it. But how am I going about it? Well, they have a desire. I want to fulfill that desire. Well, guess who's going to make the calculation and the plan and the implementation to fulfill that desire? You are. So by their desire, it's not like you're doing what they want you to do. I mean, you are doing what they want you to do, but you're actually building a mind on how to do it correctly. So by nullifying actually your mind, you have now, through their desire, found a way to increase your mind by actually realizing their desire. Why? Because if you want to fulfill a desire, you've got to think about how to do it. All right, so you're actually becoming smarter and more developed. This is how we grow up in life as well. In life, we're always growing up and becoming smarter and smarter as we want to fulfill our worldly desires. Well, think of it like this. Spirituality is the fulfillment of the desire of the other. So if I'm constantly working towards fulfilling the desire of the other, what's going to happen? I'm constantly going to get smarter in spirituality. Isn't that right? Because I'm constantly thinking about how to fulfill the other. So that's going to make me smarter in discovering and looking for ways of how I can bestow and how I can do it correctly. Isn't that great? Isn't that great, Anthony?
Absolutely fantastic.
Okay, good. I am glad he agrees.
Anything less would be uncivilized.
Great. Exactly. So this actually doesn't mean that I make, a fool out of myself. Quite to the contrary, I now bring a completely different perspective and outlook, because now I'm fulfilling the desire of somebody else. Now my mind needs to start working towards fulfilling their desire instead of mine. Now, because their desire is not felt in me, this is going to open up a new sensation, because in order to fill them, I have to feel them. How can I fulfill them if I don't have a loving relationship towards them? So their desire needs filling. And in order for me to fill their desire, I have to open up to them from a different perspective, from a perspective of love, like parents towards children. And if I approach them with love, then my mind begins to think about doing good towards them, with me completely separated from self-benefit. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, so that gets you spiritual.
Could be.
Okay, so guys, I'm giving you all the tips here. Okay, everything to get spiritual, all of the approaches that takes years for a person to discover in spirituality. Okay, so do take notes of them. Kalicha, are you taking notes? Okay, you look like you're mesmerized, hypnotized. All good?
We got a delay here.
Okay, okay, it's good to see him on the screen though.
Kalichi is always wonderful to see.
Okay, so now we can move on to number 5. Seeking solution in the next stage. Okay, so up to here, we got any questions?
So far, so good. So far, so good.
All right, good. So let's move forward. Seeking solution in the next stage. Now, in spirituality, what we never ever want to do is to stay in the same place. Because if you're stuck in the same place, or you're staying in the same degree, and if you're not doing something to move forward, in spirituality, that's a state called death. Okay? Not corporeal death. Mind you, corporeal death as well. Once you die, nothing happens. So in spirituality, if you're not advancing, you're dead. Nothing happens. So that's actually how death and spiritual death have this parallel meaning. So in spirituality, we always want to start, as soon as we built one level, we want to start building the next level, keep going up and up and up and up, okay? So we don't want to get stuck in one place. Seeking solution in the next degree. Have you ever felt that you're in a deep fog, unable to see or perceive anything until a light suddenly appears and matters become clearer as answers rise from within? This is how the search for the solution takes place in a circle. It works this way because the question is asked from the current level of connection, but the answer is found on the next level. There is nothing more futile than to seek the solution on the same level. Yet it is a mistake humanity has been making constantly for millennia in every field of life. The solution to any problem comes from the next degree of connection and accord among us. When we rise to the next level, the Creator will give us the eureka, namely the new mind and heart by which we will be able to cope with the challenge. Alright, so let's read that again and go over it. Have you ever felt that you're in a deep fog, unable to see or perceive anything until a light suddenly appears and matters become clearer as answers rise from within? This is how the search for the solution takes place in a circle. This is also how we develop in life. If I was not confused, I would never go forward in life. Same in spirituality. As we progress in spirituality, there'll be moments where we can't really make sense of what we're going through. Okay, because we're emotional about things, we going through emotions and we can't really reconcile it with our mind. So we're like in this, like what's going on? Okay. And that's great to have, because any kind of confusion, fogginess, blurriness, lack of understanding, not knowing what's going on, you're in this funny feeling like heavy or, like lost somewhere. Sometimes you can't even move. All these feelings and sensations are very, very, very beneficial, because it's a sign that we're now going to give birth to the next level. Okay? It works this way because the question is asked from the current level of connection, but the answer is found on the next level. Okay? So I can never ever solve a problem from my current degree. I can't. It's not going to happen. If I could, I already would. Then I wouldn't have a problem. In fact, I would never ever have a problem if I could do that. Okay? So the only way to solve a problem is to actually look at it from a higher level. Okay? Otherwise, in life, humanity would not have had any dramas at all. So, and because we're not doing that as humanity, we're always having problems. Okay? So what we need to do when we're coming through this state of blurriness, fogginess, lack of focus, confusion, there's all kinds of things we're going through. What we have to do is, it's a sign that we have to go up to the next level. Okay? In order for us to go up to the next level, what do we have to do? The solution to any problem comes from the next degree of connection and accord among us. So we have to now connect at a higher level. We have to connect deeper. When we rise to the next level, the Creator will give us the eureka, namely the new mind and heart by which we will be able to cope with the challenge. Okay, so this is something, when we say Creator, this is what nature does. Okay, in life you also have eureka moments. Like you're like confused about something, that some question is mind-boggling and it's kind of like, draining you, and all of a sudden after like a week or two, a month, a year, I don't know, all of a sudden, like, oh my God, so that's what it is. Okay, what happens? It's a eureka moment. Okay, now in the wisdom of Kabbalah, because we're talking about the laws of nature, this already exists in nature. But a group of Kabbalists want to make this law in nature move faster. Okay, so we don't want to wait for this eureka moment to come whenever it's going to come. We want to ignite it, we want to bring it about, and we want to resolve it now in our time. Okay, because that eureka moment can come tomorrow, or it could come, I don't know, in 10 years, you never know. But the more we work together at a spiritual direction, a spiritual developed, in a Kabbalistic way, let's say, the more we're studying together, working together, solving things together, the more we integrate together, our connection goes up to the next level. Then I don't have to wait for that eureka moment. It's like I'm inviting that eureka moment with my effort and realizing it before, like speeding up time with my work. So this is very important. In order for us to seek the solution, we have to go up to the next level, and going up to the next level means I have to now add something to my work, add some new connection, add something new to do. This is why we're constantly talking in circles and adding things to it. Okay? So that confusion can clarify when everybody's adding something towards the circle. Everybody's adding towards the concept. And the only way to do that, the only way to bring about a new mind is by doing these 4 steps that we talked about before. So I've got to do all these 4 steps that we talked about, and now I'm in this confused state. I have to add more connection, and that's the 5th state. So all of these things have to be spontaneous and continuous in the circle. So I have to constantly be in these rules as we talk. It's not like, okay, I did this rule now and I'm going to do the other one. No, these things always need to be inside of us constantly. So we're always in this flow of these principles together. Okay? That was number 5. Okay, so this is the last one, the 6th rule. Okay? The 6th internal rule to make the workshop an effective tool. Only after a circle has formed a sense of common space, where we do not feel ourselves, but only the connection with the others, called the center of the circle, can we bring to the circle our own knowledge and experience in order to express what we feel properly. In this way, the bonding with the others begins to feel alive, something from which concepts such as annulment, listening, bonding, and creator suddenly become clear. Let's read that again. Aiming for the center of the circle. Now, aiming for the center of the circle means I'm aiming towards connection with the friends. I'm aiming towards connection with the friends, and that mutual connection among us should also be defined as the connection we have with the creator. Okay, so it's like a spiritual state. Only after a circle has formed a sense of common space, where we do not feel ourselves, but only the connection with the others, the center of the circle, can we bring to the circle our own knowledge and experience in order to express what we feel properly. In this way, the bonding with the others begins to feel alive, something from which concepts such as annulment, listening, bonding, and creator suddenly become clear. Okay, so that's the 6th rule. Only after a circle has formed a sense of common space where we do not feel ourselves. So I need to come to a state where I'm actually kind of like out of myself and I'm just feeling this common vibe that exists. And once we get to do that, only the connection with the others, called the center of the circle, can we bring to the circle our own knowledge and experience in order to express what we feel properly. So if I don't have that common sensation, I can't also add anything spiritual from myself. I have to feel the others like they're a part of me and I'm a part of them. So we're like this one dough, okay? It's just like this one fire, okay? There's just one fire, one flame, and we're all in it. In this way, the bonding with the others begins to feel alive, something from which concepts such as annulment, listening, bonding, and creator suddenly becomes clear. Why? Because there you have the spiritual attainment. And only through spiritual attainment, what was blurry before now can become clear. So what we initially done with these 6 steps, when we apply it on a workshop, we've actually taken ourselves from completely being disconnected. So you've got 10 friends, let's say, in a 10, and we're completely disconnected, right? Nobody knows it. Nobody has any connection to anyone. But what we want to do is connect. And once we start applying these principles, the group should come to this common sensation, this common space, feeling, and so on. And from that, we should feel a greater sense of enlightenment, called spirituality, which is the sensation of the Creator, which should bring about clarity to everything that was confusing before. And that is a new level. Well, I hope that fixes all your problems. Okay. What the circle does really fix all problems, okay? Because a person can't fix their problem on their own. So by connecting with others, we actually give ourselves the opportunity to enrich ourselves, to fix everything that we on our own could not. So all the principles here are actually relying on a person's annulment, okay, in order to build from that annulment a new state by adding everything that the group has. That way you become one level higher. If I hadn't done that, I would never be able to go up to the next level. So nullifying and participating and making this an exercise of feeling rather than an intellectual exercise, I'm beginning to absorb new feelings and sensations that allow me to give birth to my new state. And that new state brings about the understanding of the confusions of the previous state. All right, so we're all good?
All good.
Okay. All right, great. So guys, we have come to the end of this lesson. And today we have covered the 6 internal rules to make the workshop an effective tool. Now, next week, next Tuesday, we're going to discuss the 6 external rules to make the workshop an effective tool. So today we learned how our inner approach should be. Next week, we're going to learn how our external approach needs to be so that we can get this done. All right. And that way, that should pretty much fix us up. So it's a two lesson topic on how to do a workshop. So if you have anything to say, or if there are no questions, we'll be saying good day or good evening.
So far, so good. I think that wraps it up.
All right.
But feel free to write us in. You can also continue to write on this chat into the Facebook and into the YouTube. So any questions that you have, send them on over. We'll be happy to answer.
All right, great. Have a great evening or a good day. All the best. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.